my name is Taylor Smith, aka the Career Coach, and I'm here today for an episode of The Tea with Taylor. So the whole reason I created this series is really to dive into my failures and my successes throughout my career journey. And today I want to talk specifically about my resume. So I do have another series called Tips by Taylor where I dive in more about different things as far as your career aspirations go or career help. So I have another video related to the resume where I really dive in and talk about different topics that's really going to help advance you with specific tips that are relatable to you. So I actually have 4 videos. Go ahead and check them out where I talk about all of this stuff in way more detail. But this video today is going to dive into more of my personal story and the things that I had to overcome. So the main things I want you to get out of The Tea with Taylor is 1, some inspiration. So hopefully I can instill some hope in you. If you're going through some of the same challenges and obstacles that I'm going through, give you some light to know that, you can achieve success. All you have to do is learn from these mistakes and improve. And secondly, for you to really get some lessons learned from my experiences from me, so you don't have to make the same mistakes, and so that you can move along much faster than me and be even more successful than me. So that's the whole intent of these videos. I hope you guys enjoy. I do want to remind y'all that I am a career coach. So I do provide personalized one-on-one coaching to my clients where I help them with their resume, elevator pitch, interviewing, and more. But what I do is I really work with my clients one-on-one to look at some of the accomplishments and the things that they have already achieved and write them in a way where it aligns with what companies are really looking for, so that you stand out to recruiters, so that you are listed as the top candidate on their list, and so that you get those offers and those job opportunities. So with all of that said, I do want to get started and talk about my career journey with my resume. So I want to talk about 9 defining moments within my career, my journey, that really helped me shape and get the resume that I have today, which has allowed me to get companies reach out to me randomly, slide in my DMs on LinkedIn, or message me because my information has been put in some kind of resume database. So this is like when I was a junior and senior, and I decided I didn't really want to look at any more options because I knew where I wanted to go long term. And I had companies like John Deere, aerospace companies. I had Apple reaching out to me, and I'm not even actively looking for a job, and following up with me so that they can get in front of me and they can interview with me, etc. Because I just seemed like an excellent candidate in order to work with them. And some of these cases, I wasn't even responding to these companies, and they followed up with me because that's how impressive my experience was, and it spoke for itself. So if you want to be able to get your resume to go to that next level, definitely hire a one-on-one coach like myself. Check out my website, taylorosmith.com, in order to book an appointment with me. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me in advance or on my socials. But definitely, if you want to take yourself to that level, just listen to my story. Set up an appointment with me, because I did not start from there at all. I was the exact opposite. So my first defining moment was really when I was still in high school. So I was a senior in high school, and I was applying to colleges. And so I didn't have any work experience, but when you do applications, whether to school or a job, it starts to ask you a lot of questions. It asks you about your work experiences, about your leadership, about your volunteering. And so I started inputting in some of that data, right? So I had 0 work experience. The closest I got to working was pet sitting for my neighbor across the street when she went on vacation. So I can't remember if I listed that or not. But for organizations, I was a part of the girls basketball team for 3 years. I did some stuff in student council, and I also was a part of this organization called PALS, where we mentored elementary and middle school students and helped with special ed students. For volunteering, I was very involved in Special Olympics. I also did a couple things with my basketball team. So I think we donated some stuff to the soldiers in the army. We created little baggies and goodies for them. We also visited a group home, and then with student council, we raised a whole bunch of meals and food around Thanksgiving time to donate to those in need or maybe homeless. So those were some experiences that I was able to kind of craft together and throw onto my applications. And I didn't know it then because I didn't know what a resume was, but this really stuck in my mind later when it came time for me to create a resume. So that leads me to my second defining moment. So I was a part of this summer engineering program. So before I entered my freshman year, so I could go ahead and get some credits, right? Even though I didn't need it, it was a great experience. Highly recommend doing something like that if you can. But anyway, during one of these days that we had activities on the weekend where we got to like visit companies and learn and stuff. We had a NSBE day on the calendar. And I was like, what is NSBE? What is NSBE? I don't understand. I've never heard of this company, right? And then I came to find out that NSBE is an organization that stands for the National Society of Black Engineers. I love NSBE. I went on to become the chapter president, the regional, go on to the regional board, but at this time I didn't know about NSBE. So these students come to our NSBE day during our engineering program, and they tell us, what are all the benefits of joining, how you can get professional development, get involved in the community, and get some leadership experience. So one of the biggest highlights in between all the games and stuff, they talked about this freshman executive board they had, and this was basically an opportunity for freshman students to get leadership experience their freshman year, which is kind of unheard of and really hard to do. So that was like a perfect opportunity for me because I wanted to get plugged into organizations. But the thing that really stood out to me was the fact that this freshman recruitment chair who's pitching this idea, his name is Marcus, he's saying that getting on this freshman executive board, the FEB, is basically a guaranteed internship because the people on the previous board, they all got internships. The year before that, they all got internships. And so it was like, a trend, right? And so I was like, yeah, I'm down. My sister, thankfully, she graduated chemical engineering before I started school. She did some internships with NASA. She was making some of that engineering money while she was still in school. And I know that it's kind of set you up for success when you start looking for full-time opportunities after you graduate. So I kind of had an idea, and I knew that was something that I wanted to do. And so I went ahead and applied for this freshman executive board for the secretary position. And I didn't have a resume, but thankfully Marcus talked about resumes because he knew he was talking about to freshmen who probably had no clue what that was. And he actually sent us a template. So I used that template. I did some research and I realized, oh yeah, I kind of do have a resume. I have some experiences I can add into there. So I went ahead and added those into this template and I created this resume. I submitted my application and I got to progress to the next stage and I had an interview. So I had an interview with Marcus and then also this other person to talk about the secretary position. So I won't talk about the interview too much. I'll talk about that in other videos I'll have down the line. It went okay, and what I liked the most is afterwards, Marcus paused and said, okay, the interview is over. Now we just want to talk to you to give you feedback about how you performed in your interview, but also to talk about your resume. And he got a pen out and he started circling things. Hey, you need to change this for formatting. Maybe you should remove this. What were you trying to say here? Maybe you want to rephrase this so it's a little bit more clear. And this was my first resume, y'all, so I really didn't know what to expect. I appreciated their feedback, but I also was a little stubborn. So obviously I've never had a resume. These guys have had internship experiences, and obviously they're interviewing me because they're looking for something for this freshman executive board. So they kind of know what they're talking about. And I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know if I want to eliminate that or change it because I think that it really defines who I am. And it really makes me stand out and is unique. But obviously I'd never had a job. Like I told y'all, the most I ever did was pet sit, and that did not require a resume. So I really didn't know what I was talking about. I wish I was maybe a little bit more open to that feedback and criticism. But that was a mistake I made, and I shortly learned soon afterwards. So I ended up getting this position on the freshman executive board. I was hyped. I got that leadership experience. I had a 4.0 GPA from that summer engineering program, and I just felt like, I should definitely get a internship my freshman year. There's no reason why I shouldn't. So I ended up going to some informational sessions, some networking events, and I got to talk to some companies to kind of, get my name out there and really get plugged in. And so I was able to talk to this one recruiter from this organization called Inroads. And obviously I wasn't really at that level yet, and he could see that. I think he liked my personality. He saw I had potential, but I could use some coaching. And so he took the time to say, hey, email me, send me your resume, and I'll give you some feedback. And so he looked at my resume. He actually emailed me a bunch of notes, but he also scheduled some time to talk to me. And he said, hey, Taylor, I think you have a good start, but we can, improve your resume. So these are some suggestions that I have in order to, help improve you. And again, I was kind of stubborn still. And I was thinking, I don't know if I want to change this. I feel like this really speaks to who I am. And like, if I remove that, then I think that's going to be less impressive, and just different things like that. And who was I to tell this guy who had 15 to 20 years experience in the industry and knew exactly what he was looking for in candidates, that I didn't want to remove stuff from my resume. So again, another mistake. Later I learned to be more open. I had to learn through that experience, but I went through the rest of my freshman year and I did not get an internship opportunity. So if you are a freshman or maybe a sophomore and you didn't get an internship your freshman year, that is 100% okay. The majority of freshman students do not get internships. Only a small percentage do, and it's totally feasible. I probably should have honestly gotten one because I had a pretty solid resume. Like I told you, I had a GPA to start off with. My first semester, I was getting some leadership experience, and I had some decent stuff from high school. But the matter of the fact was that my elevator pitch sucked. So when I talked to companies, I was kind of shooting myself in the foot. I'm going to talk about that in a whole different video. I have so much to say about those failures and wrong things I was saying, literally all the wrong things. But anyway, I ended up not getting an internship, which was okay. And I ended up going back home to like McKinney, Dallas area. And I ended up working for Abercrombie in retail. So I ended up getting some work experience, which was good, something to add to my resume. And I learned more about my work ethic. And I actually really, really enjoyed that. I kind of wanted to be an Abercrombie manager. Still think that would be cool. But anyway, I really love what I'm doing in supply chain. But nevertheless, so I came back to school my sophomore year, and I'm kind of nervous to talk to companies now. So it is the day before the career fair, and at Prairie View, we have this thing called STEM Town. So it's basically an engineering career fair the day before, where these companies come and they give like these quick informational sessions, about 5 to 7 minutes, one after another, and they talk about, what their company is, what they're looking for, and then afterwards you can go talk to them at this booth to, exchange information, talk to them, and then follow up with them at the career fair. So it gives you a lot of like visibility, all of that good stuff. And so I knew this was a really important event to go to, but I was overwhelmed and I was so nervous because I did not get anything last year, and it's finally clicking. I'm doing something wrong. So I need help, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And so I'm sitting in this computer lab and I'm crying because I need to update my resume with my Abercrombie experience, with my NSBE experience, and I don't know what to put. So thankfully for me, some of my NSBE mentors happen to be in that same computer lab. This is literally right down the hall from the STEM Town. And so they were able to work with me and, talk to me and say, hey, at Abercrombie, what did you do? Well, I folded clothes and I talked to customers and worked the cashier. I don't know how to phrase that. And they helped me figure out how to put those in great words that are gonna get companies to notice me, They also challenged me to put this experience that I had, this business that I had in my freshman year where I sold Oreo truffles, which are kind of like cake balls, but made out of Oreos. And, that speaks to me having a business mindset. and being a hard worker, being able to manage customers, put them first, manage, supply and demand, relationships, finances, etc. And so they helped me craft these descriptions to put on my resume. And then they gave me some pep talks with my elevator pitch, because that's what needed the most work. And I went out there and I actually ended up getting 2 internships, y'all. Not 2 internships, 2 interviews, y'all. And so I'd never had an interview before. So I was really excited about this. And so I actually did my first interview. I bombed that. We'll talk about that another time. But the second interview, I actually ended up doing okay. So I continued to talk to more companies. I'm a little more confident. And I'm getting more interviews, but nothing is really sticking. So I follow up with the lady from GE Oil and Gas, which was that second interview I had from STEMtown. And I followed up to see, what are some updates with that? I haven't heard back. So she told me that she would look into it. And she got back to me and said that I didn't get the offer with GE Oil and Gas, but she would see if she could push me through with GE Power and Water. And so we kept in touch, and eventually she told me that I was able to get accepted with GE Water. So that was amazing. I got that right before the Christmas break. During my sophomore year, which was a relief because I was going to be involved in a lot of organizations and stuff like that second semester. So that was perfect for me. So I was very, very thankful for that. And during that summer, I went ahead and did my internship. And so I was in Trevose, Pennsylvania, worked with a lot of executives as my assignment leaders, and I realized that they're people too, and very relatable. And so that made me get over my fear of networking and talking to these executives and people who work in the corporate world, because some reason I was just really nervous before. And then also, I learned more about this rotational program within GE, and I realized that this is something that I really wanted to do. So there were some mentors I had at this site, and they gave me advice. So they told me about this rotational program, what are the benefits of it, what are some of their experiences with interviewing. And then I expressed that I wanted to do the program, but I think I wanted to go the sales route. So I wanted to do another internship the next summer, but I want it to be sales related. So I asked Megan, who's one of my mentors there, and I asked her if she could review my resume to give me some tips. And so I figured, she would just kind of redline it, maybe like draw on it, give me some notes. And I came back and talked to her, and she had did my whole resume, y'all. She reformatted it and everything, and it looked great. Because before what I had was very overwhelming. It was just packed with a lot of stuff. But she made it more appealing to the eye. She added some more spacing. She changed some of the words to make it more relevant and sound, nicer. She improved some of my descriptions, and we sat down and we talked about it together, line by line, to really understand some of the changes that I made. And I accepted the feedback and I appreciated it so much. And that's when I really started learning about my resume and how to take it to the next level. So this is my 5th defining moment with my resume. And so I was able to apply for that sales position. I didn't get that internship. I didn't have a lot of sales experience just yet. However, I did get to hop on a call for a preliminary interview. And then in addition to that, I ended up getting a return offer anyway within the supply chain organization. So that was awesome. And I was going to be moving to Houston, and I ended up getting into oil and gas again. Anyway, so I'm going into my junior year now. Okay, I've done an internship. I have a return offer for the following summer. I'm the NSBE president now. I'm a part of my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I'm involved in a lot of other organizations. I'm starting to become a mentor to these incoming freshmen and these sophomores. They look up to me and they want to get advice. I'm the same age my mentors were when they were offering me advice. And so one of the biggest moments I saw, and this was another defining moment for me, I met someone during one of my conferences. So he's also a junior like me, but he doesn't have any leadership experience. He has not had any internships experiences, and he doesn't even have a 3.0 GPA. So he comes and he tells me all of these things, and he says, hey Taylor, I know you're very successful, you have fruit on the tree, and I could really use your mentorship. I've gone to these conferences before at NSBE and I haven't received anything, and I really want to get something before I go into my senior year. Can you help me? And so I took the time and I sat with him and I said, yeah, sure. And so we're sitting there during the conference, during some of the meetings, and we're whispering and we're just talking to each other, and I'm helping him with this elevator pitch. I'm helping him with his interviewing skills. And then we're also talking about his resume very briefly. And so he comes back the next day and he says, hey, I made some updates to my resume like you mentioned, and also I did some mock interviewing, and this is the feedback that I got. What do you think I should do going forward? Am I in the right direction or what? Should I pivot? And we kept coaching throughout that conference, and he ended up getting an internship offer, y'all. And this is in like March or April, and school ends in May. So that was amazing. But he wasn't able to accept that offer because it was out of state and personal reasons. He needed to stay in Houston. However, he ended up getting a research opportunity over that summer instead. So this was a defining moment for me because I realized that I was able to not only take the things that Megan had taught me the summer before and apply them to my resume, but I was able to coach and help other people as well. And he got an internship opportunity. So that was like freaking amazing. I felt great. And so next, so my seventh defining moment is when I go to my return offer. So I'm in Houston, Texas now. I'm doing this other internship. And so I realized for sure I do want to do this rotational program within supply chain within the company, and I'm working with this young lady who graduated from the same program about 3 or 4 years before, and her name is Brittany. And so she was so kind. I asked her to help me with my pitch out presentation for my final internship, and then also because for the program, you have to do case studies and a presentation and stuff like that. And so I asked her to kind of review my presentation, make sure it looks okay. And she really sat down with me for about an hour or two, and she reviewed it with me to really ask me questions like, hey, what was the purpose of working on this project? What was the end goal? What did you achieve? How much did you work on this? You know, what was the extent? And she really challenged me to update that presentation. And she sat down with me literally for an hour or two, y'all, to literally like make all the graphics on my presentation, but also did the same thing with my resume. So I'll talk about the presentation maybe more another time, but with my resume, she really sat down with me for about an hour or two. This was a whole separate day. And she asked me questions like that. She asked me about when I was a tutor, you know, how many people did I tutor? How frequent were my tutoring sessions? Like twice a week, okay. I had twice a week, weekly sessions, but how many people came to my sessions and how many total did I have? Once a week is cool, but over the last 2 years, how many did I have total? I had like 50. And so adding those metrics in there really made me stand out and took me to a whole level I never even considered. I talked about, saving money for the company with one of my jobs, and it seemed like a very minor number. And she gave me confidence and said, hey, within the time frame that you worked in, that is a very feasible task. Go ahead and include that. Or she told me about, I evaluated some part numbers for a project in order to improve like on-time delivery and stuff, and she asked me, how many part numbers did you evaluate? I have no idea. It was a lot, and she challenged me to estimate. So I actually went back and looked, and it was 900 part numbers. That's a lot, and she told me to include that on my resume. And so she made me realize the importance of having metrics and numbers on your resume to really make you stand out and make a difference. And I saw the impact in including what was the purpose or the intent behind doing these things to align with what companies are really looking for. And this is what took me to a whole nother level. So I ended up applying for this rotational program full time. I ended up getting it before my senior year even starts, so I'm good to go. I've already signed my offer letter. I already have senioritis. I'm just focused on passing my classes and, you know, kind of being out of here, to be honest. And so, yeah, that's what I was focused on. I was now on the regional board of NSBE. So we are planning our conference. Our finance chair needs us to submit our resumes to start a database for our company. So, you know, I just submitted my resume, even though I'm not interested in interviewing or talking to other people. And I'm getting these requests from these companies before the conferences, and they're emailing me, Taylor, your resume is so impressive. We really want to interview. And some of the emails I'm just kind of honestly missing, or I'm like, I don't really want to talk to them. Then they're sending me follow-up emails. They're even like calling me and telling me, hey Taylor, we really want to talk to you, please. So like that was amazing to see, just like how far I've grown from the beginning, like not getting any interviews to people really wanting to interview me because I'm an excellent candidate. And this is just from them looking at my resume alone. I haven't even talked to them at a career fair booth or anything. I haven't even applied to anything. So that was amazing for me to see that transformation and that change. But anyway, so Brittany helped me that summer, and when I came in back to school my senior year, I wasn't interested in looking at other opportunities. But the student that I had helped that previous semester during the spring, who decided to do research, he came back to me and said, hey Taylor, I did my research. Now I want to be able to add it to my resume. I know you told me a couple things, but we didn't really get to dive in deep. So I learned all this information from Brittany that summer before, and we apply it to his resume. I'm asking him all these questions, making him think outside the box, and we update and transform his whole resume. We do some reformatting, and he gets 2 more internship opportunities. He still doesn't even have a 3.0 GPA, y'all. In addition to that, he asked me to help him get these 2 leadership positions on campus because he knew that was going to help with his resume. I gave him some tips with that, and he ended up getting those as well. And so he's on fire, y'all. He's doing great because of all the coaching and mentorship I'm providing him based on the mentorship and the coaching other people had helped me get to this level. So again, that made me feel like validated and feel good, you know, like I'm actually learning stuff that I can help somebody else who may even feel like he's very disadvantaged, but he's getting results, y'all. And so, my last defining moment, which isn't really a defining moment, number 9, is just a few months ago. So I'm finishing up my rotational program with my company. I'm rolling off, and so I have to look for more permanent positions. And so I'm updating all the experiences I've had. Like basically everything from college is going to have to get removed because I just have so much experience now. And so I decided to, you know, I'm pretty good at updating my resume now, making sure to include metrics, smart descriptions, which I talk about in one of my videos. Go ahead and check that out. And I feel pretty good, and I'm like, you know what, I'm helping people with their resumes, I'm being a career coach. And one of my cousins, she actually has this really cute format or template for her resume, and I've always thought about updating my template, but just kind of honestly been too lazy. And I was like, you know what, I'm about to be applying for more of these positions in my company. I'm gonna go ahead and update it, and I'm gonna be a little cute because I had like just kind of like a standard regular template, and I updated it and it was really cute. But I want to tell y'all, that's like the least of your worries. I've gone all these years without having this cute, pretty template, and I've been getting all these opportunities. So how your resume looks is kind of one of the last things to worry about. You want to worry more about the content and what you have in there. Of course, you want it to be one page. You still want it to look organized and neat, but you don't need to make it all flashy and colorful and all these cool sections and formats. So anyway, that has been my experience with my resume, starting very early in my senior year, not knowing what that is, trying to apply for jobs and not getting anything, to actually getting approached by companies on LinkedIn, as well as when I was going to conferences as a senior saying that they wanted to basically interview me. So I hope this shed some light on y'all. You know, whatever struggles you may be going through right now, or maybe you haven't even started, it's okay. Like, you will go through some stuff at the beginning, but you will learn from those mistakes and you will grow. And the best way to help you accelerate that learning and growth is to invest in a career coach, to invest in a mentor. And I promise y'all, once you invest that time, it's going to help you so much. So like if you're an engineering student, and I help all STEM majors, really all majors. My brother is a music major. I helped him with his resume. I've helped people who work in customer care, who work in law enforcement, all of that good stuff. I can help you all. But anyway, what I was saying, if you're an engineering student and you get like an engineering internship, honestly, that first hour and a half, you would have already paid me back for the services that you paid for me to help you with your resume, etc. So definitely I think y'all should invest in this opportunity. It's only going to help you in the long run. And I wish y'all the best of luck with your resumes, your career journey. If you do have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. If you want to see some more content, learn more about my failures and success, feel free to drop those topics below. And I will see you guys next time. Make sure to follow me on my socials. Check out my website, taylorosmith.com, and like and subscribe on YouTube. And I will see you guys next time. All right, bye.